What is going on, everybody? We are back on it. Finally, man, it feels like forever ago. House of the Dragon Season 2. Very, very excited for this. I feel like it took so long to get here, but then when I found out, like, oh, it comes out in 2024, I feel like 2024 started and we just blinked to June. Like we're coming up on July 4th. It's crazy. Regardless, House of the Dragon Season 2. If you're here and you've been here before, for anything, especially our Game of Thrones House of Dragon things, you know that it is, in my opinion, from the things that I've seen, if Attack on Titan is my favorite thing that I've ever seen that's been animated, whether that's anime, cartoon, whatever you want to put that's, animated, Game of Thrones would be my favorite non-animated series, TV show, probably movie, whatever you want to categorize it as. And it's an interesting thing because I went back and looked, and when we started doing reactions on the channel, because if you weren't here from the very, very beginning, I used to play before esports boomed. Before esports is I mean, you got kids out, you got people, not just kids, you got people out here like making a living off of competitive esports, like making money, serious money. Before that started, I used to play Madden competitively. I used to win a decent amount of money and free food and all these type of things. And you would upload gaming, me playing Madden, when I was in college. That's what the channel started as. That's where the Dre Plays part came from. And then I went back and looked like a month ago, and I was like, what was our first, like, when did we start reacting? And I think it was Game of Thrones season 5 or 6 is when we first started doing like quote unquote reactions, which was a long time. I think it was like 8 or 9 years ago, maybe something like that, way before pre-COVID. We're talking like 20, I don't know, it was a long time ago. What's wild is because I got to the Game of Thrones, I started Game of Thrones late, but I was there when I was there with everybody when it ended. And reactions weren't a thing in like the earlier seasons. Let me not say reactions. The reacting meta that is now, all over YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, like reacting is like a thing. Like even your favorite social media person, they do reactions to something of some kind. Like that's not what it was back when Game of Thrones was like at its, like really at its peak. Reacting was like new, and then when Game of Thrones really got to like, we're talking like season 6, 7, 8 at the end, like reaction channels were like, okay, like this is like normal. But back when it had started, that's when I had started, and like reactions weren't a thing. And it was kind of, reacting has been good and bad, because if something's good in this day and age, it's a great time to be online. Like it's all over your Twitter feed, your Instagram feed, your Facebook, your YouTube, your suggestions. It's like, man, I love House of the Dragon season 1. The internet loves House of Dragon season 1. It's all great. It's good to like go back and forth and just see like all of its greatness. And when something's bad, it's the same thing. It's like, especially if you enjoy it and it's bad, it's like all you do is see people shitting on it. I mean, that's just everything in life, not just like reactions and shit. But when Game of Thrones was like doing its thing, reactions like weren't a thing. So I really enjoy that, like we're getting like another round of it, of Game of Thrones, even though it's under a different title, same thing. And it's in this day and age where like reacting is, I mean, it's everywhere. It's rampant. It's running the streets. So I'm very, very hopeful for this. Again, Game of Thrones is probably my favorite non-animated series. I thought season 1 killed it. It was everything that like peak Game of Thrones was. Regardless of your opinions on the final season or seasons, I thought season 1 knocked it out of the park. And I've heard that before this episode even dropped, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, the House of Dragon season 3 has already been greenlit. Like it's a go, like they've approved it, and this hasn't even dropped yet. But of course, I mean, like how bad could it? I mean, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see how it goes. We left off with we had our time jump, we had our time skip. I think every episode in season 1 we were skipping forward like 2 years worth, 3 years worth. We switch actors halfway through for at least some of the main characters. And the quote unquote like war for succession is starting. Greens versus blacks, blacks versus greens. Take your pick, whichever side you want to be on. Now I don't know. Now we know like how the story ends up when you get to the Game of Thrones part at the end of it, but I don't know who comes out of this and like who dies and all those type of things. I know I could go out there and read it, but I have no idea. So I'm excited with that. We left off with Luke getting killed at the end of the last season. Like that was the last kind of like plot point. Him getting killed, his mother Rhaenyra finding out, and then that kind of like pan shot on her face of like zooming in the anger. You can see like she's ready to go. So I'm gonna assume we see more dragons this season. We should see some more families, I'm suspecting. Especially, I think we are going to get Starks this season. How much of that, I don't know. I'm not sure on an episode count. I'll look that up, or if you guys want to let me know with that. But yeah, let's go ahead and do it. House of the Dragon Season 2. I'm excited. Let's see what we got.
Must pay its price.
We're in... Oh, speaking of Starks, like, we're here.
The North owes a great duty to the Seven Kingdoms.
Why is it...
Older than any oath.
This sounds like a... whoever's speaking sounds like Jon.
Against the cold and the dark.
And they're playing that Winterfell theme.
From doomed men who had their life as their only possession.
So great. Or the Stark theme, whatever you want to categorize it as.
Began a tradition by making an offering at the onset of winter. 1 in 10 men from our household was to be chosen to fortify the watch.
That sucks. You had a 1 in 10 chance to not get picked, and he just gets plucked.
Honor. You at least had the mercy not to threaten me with your dragon.
Oh, the others have already been there, Aemon and such. Bend the knee or burn, essentially, I guess is what their offer was.
Urgent news from Dragonstone.
Oh, he's gonna find out about his brother's death. In front of him, too, at the same time. Yep. Yep.
Killing Vhagar. I cannot face that hoary old bitch alone.
Well, you're just gonna go down there, the two of you?
Together we can kill Vhagar and her rider.
God. He is, determined, huh?
News of Laena's death.
True.
Persisted for weeks in torment.
She just went through the same situation. Multiple times, actually. She lost 2 children.
It was only when I...
Flashback to the moment that he's talking about right now. For her to make that decision. Because, yes, she could have snuffed all that shit out. All of it.
Fly with me. It is a command.
Would that you were the king.
Yeah. But then we would have no story. But then, like, how does she go down in history as, like... And would she care? She went down in history as the one that just extinguished the line and killed the High Towers and did X, Y, Z. Probably not. But it's like you put yourself in a situation of, like, if anybody has any loyalty to them, the target is on your back and your children's back or your grandchildren's backs for the rest of their lives, and your husband's. Which you could say there's a target on their backs right now with her siding with Rhaenyra, and everybody that's on the opposite side has a target on her back if they catch her or her grandchildren or husband slipping. But it's a tough call to make in the moment. That yes, she could have ended it. We wouldn't have a story, but I don't know what. It's tough. It's tough. Is it friendly dragon or enemy dragon? You gotta kind of need to know that before you just start letting arrows fly. I'm assuming friendly dragon. No shot we start burning shit down 20 minutes into the first episode. Is that Vhagar, I think? Yeah, I can see the holes in the wings. Yeah. Yep. Now, how is he doing? Like, what's his mental like? Because we saw him to be a little flustered and like, I didn't want to kill that kid, you know, at the end of last season. Is he just going on about his life like, oh, well, shucks, it happens? Or is he a little mentally different? Or...
They'd be fools to come with Vhagar protecting the city.
Not the dragons. The rats.
The Queen is an enduring mystery. Is she not?
She's, still having those dreams and visions, huh? Alright, so remember, she said rats. So, if we see something with rats hit the fan, back to her. Are we Sir Kristen and shit still going at this or what? Is that Sir Kristen? We just hit the scene like this? I guess it is. Is that what we do these days? I guess so. Gives her something, I guess. She no longer has a husband.
Yeah.
So I guess it's aight. This man has, I mean, he's so far off the deep end. Soiled his oaths twice over now. Who even knows how many other women he's probably been with? I'm sure after that, everything that happened, it just, he's just said, fuck it. I'm just a shield for hire at this point. And I'm sure this isn't the first time they've had this conversation about we can't again. And I'm sure it won't be the last time that they would again. So we got that little pest control here. Man and his little hunting dog going to get all the rats. That's the second time we've had a rat reference. So, okay. Be on the lookout for that shit. Yeah, he knows what's up. Otto knows what's up. He's not a fool. He's not in control. He has no power. He makes no decisions. But he has the title. Oh my god. She's yapping at her kids. Otto's yapping at his. This is a mess. It's a mess. I don't think anybody in this room actually enjoys anybody. The whole council, that's what you're putting your faith in. That group of guys. Alright. Yeah, she's so far deep in it now. She didn't want people to be killed. She didn't want this. And now, I mean, the whole thing is just spiraled out. For everybody, it's spiraled out of control. Especially on their side. And now they're just kind of like stuck having to, essentially, like Otto said, you have to play the board that's in front of you now. Like, these are the decisions that were made and the decisions that weren't made. And all you can do is just go with what you have. You just have to play the board. That's how the pieces fell. So, who does Alicent really have to lean on and confide in? I'm not talking about a yes man, fuck buddy, and Kristen Cole, or Laris, who's just a rat that she doesn't even enjoy. I'm like, whose presence does she actually want or have as a friend or as XYZ, you know? She's kind of just alone. She doesn't have a husband. The lover, quote unquote, isn't even a true it's all a mess. It's all an absolute mess. Yo, the CG on that looked so good. Oh my god. I mean, it would be good and it wouldn't be good because it would give closure. I mean, we already have closure. You see the dead dragon. Nothing. Nothing. Aegon the Magnanimous. Quite a adjective there, huh? He signed up for this, man. I mean, he didn't sign up for it. He didn't want this. And there's been worse than him, and there's better than him. He at least has a little bit of a mental. He at least seems to have a little bit of empathy. That it does. Actually. Oh, this back and forth between him and Otto is going to be great all season long. Here we go. Planting the seeds. Alright. Here we go. What does he want? Does he want it? I mean, I'm sure he'd want him to be hand. He's never going to be king. So what does he just want to shoot for? As much chaos? Is chaos a ladder to him? What are we going for here, buddy? They already have. I think both of her sons are already old enough to a point of like they don't give a fluff what Otto says or what she says. They're both in positions of power. Her two sons, one being the ultimate position of power. And they're just gonna do what they want.
Eventually forgot them for respite, as he always does. I simply
At least she didn't die in that fire. Because we saw Otto got what he needed out of her, which was Aegon's location and return. And once he got that, he tried to clip, and she got out.
So what were we to do when they turn against one another?
What do you want him to be, early Kingslayer here? You just want to take his ass out? Is he pre-Jamie Lannister here? It's so easy to make those. I don't fault Eric for doing that. Now, what you want, the queen that never was, her decision? That could be a coin flip 50-50. But no, I don't fault him for not taking up arms there and killing him when he had the chance.
Seaborne travel and trade to King's Landing will still be
She hasn't said a single word this entire episode. Let's see what her first words or command is here.
I want Aemond Targaryen.
All right. All she's seeing is straight red. All she's seeing is straight red. Got it. Perfect. So they got confirmation from the Vale. Which you think the Vale would be on their side because her mother was an Arryn, no? The one that passed away in season 1? Wasn't she like half Targaryen, half Lady of the Vale? Or no? Oh, no, I guess she wouldn't. That wouldn't be her title, Lady of the Vale. But was she not Arryn or no? I might have that incorrect. And that right there was the youngest strong kid that we saw that was born in the first episode that we had the time skip to these actors and actresses. He was the last black-haired boy. Any other kid we see will, I'm assuming, is between her and Daemon. Wow, she said a prayer for him. I mean, Alicent, I don't know, man. She's just been manipulated since she was a girl, since she was literally a young girl, and she's just stuck in the position that she's in now. And it's not like she can just she has blood children here. Like, these are her children, and she's gonna want to side with them and protect them. So like, she wouldn't just run and support the blacks and Rhaenyra and all that. But she still cares for it and understands how shitty it is. But what can you do? I don't think Aemon's gonna randomly die in the middle of the Red Keep in his room by poison or some random shit like that. I feel like if he goes down, it'll go down on the back of Vhagar all at the same time. Or maybe it does go like that. They take out Vhagar somehow without him riding. And Aemon just dies a depressing, lonely death. Who knows? Well, I have a feeling these two are about to die. Or maybe we go fucking crazy and actually kill Aemon in the first episode. That would be insane.
Show me.
Kick the shit out of that dog, no? The internet is not gonna like that. Oh shit, he's got the queen.
She's the queen, she is.
Oh no.
Son, he said. Or does she look like a fucking son to you?
I mean, killing the queen would be a pretty good get. They're not, I don't. Do you think they kill any? Do you think they kill anybody worth a damn here right now? This looks like this is gonna go
Mama knows.
bad. This is gonna go bad. This is gonna go bad for just everybody involved.
Hold him down.
What is? Oh shit. Oh. Oh, they're in there sawing that kid's head off, by the way. Oh, whoa, brother, whoa. She hasn't alerted anybody or said, do you think, what? What? Do you guys have any guards of value around this castle at all, or what? She's gone multiple flights of stairs and corridors, and I haven't seen one person. Whose room is this?
Elena.
Oh, Alicent, classic. We can't do this again. And it goes again. Oh, God. Is that the end of the episode? No shot. No shot. Oh! It is. Wow, wow, wow. I mean, we know Alicent, literally same episode. We can't do this again. Do it again. That's going to be an ongoing thing. That's kind of the only thing she has. Speaking of Alicent, since we're on the topic of Alicent, Sir Criston is kind of the only thing or person she has that doesn't curse her, doesn't try to like undermine her, isn't getting one up over her. He agrees with her to default. I don't know, it's a mess because you have the Littlefinger wannabe that he's gotten out of her control now, you know, so he's a completely loose end. She's completely uncomfortable around it. Was always uncomfortable around it, but now he's just a completely loose cannon, just killing, doing this XYZ, and she just can't control it. It's out of the box. Her son's king, so it's like she can say things, but they're already, both of her sons are already like losing respect for her word, and she's never going to be able to like outmaneuver Otto. And that's it. That's all she kind of has there. She has her little handmaidens, but they're not going to, well, they haven't shown us that she has an actual friend bond or any type of like lovable relationship in her life. And Sir Criston is in a subservient position to her. So he's just going to be a yes man the whole time. No matter what the scenario is, physically, politically, he's always just going to be a yes man. Yeah. So that, honestly, Sir Criston is all she has. But whoa, I don't know what I was expecting there. I guess I'm so used to like other TV shows and animes of like, oh, they're not actually gonna die. Somebody's gonna step in. Something's gonna happen, and I forget like what I'm watching here. And they didn't show us, which I don't expect. Did they ever really show us like? I'm trying to think in original Game of Thrones, like any like young kids or toddlers like straight up being killed, murdered. They had, you know, Princess Shireen get like burned, and we kind of saw that, but like they would like pan on and off of her. We didn't like see the skin melting off her bones, like that type of shit. And I think we saw other kids, what was it, Robb Stark when he was king, and one of his like council members, if you even want to call it at the time, ended up killing those two Lannister boys or whatever it was, but we didn't see them actually like killed. But they were making hacking, like sawing sound effects of them like trying to take the head off. I was like, whoa, I don't know why I thought Aemon was gonna run in there, or Sir Criston, or Otto, or just a random anybody was just gonna run in there and make noise. And yeah, wow, was not expecting that. Woof, yeah. Besides that, though, it was pretty good, pretty standard Game of Thrones stuff here. I think, was there a single major player on the board or in the story that we didn't see in this episode? I think we saw everything we saw everybody on the black side. We saw Rhaenyra Daemon, her son, Princess Rhaenys, her husband, Eric. I mean, I think we saw all the major players on her side. We see King, Otto, Alicent, Sir Criston, Aemon. I don't think we missed a single major player. Now there might be major players that we still are yet to be introduced to, but I'm pretty sure we ended up seeing everybody. That ending though, I don't know. And another thing was like they drew that scene out so long that like I was getting antsy. Not like okay, you guys are drawing this out, like can we like move on to another scene? It was like the other guy was already like getting wishy-washy, like, hey, I only know the way down here. I don't know how the floor plan works up there. I was only told you to get this far. So you see the two of them that are like sent to do a mission arguing with each other. So that is already number one of like, okay, this is already falling apart. This is not going well. One of them is going to bail on the other. One of them might backstab the other, just take the money and run. Like it felt uneasy already walking into it. Then they have no idea where they're going. He walks up on that handmaiden. She says nothing. He's like awkwardly trying to do some shit, and then they split. So it's like you have no idea if that guy's running, if he's gonna go tell somebody, if you go back in that room and it's somebody else and it's not him. And then he sees the handmaiden, and then he goes to look for her or look for anything. It starts raining. He doesn't know where he is. He can't find anybody, and then he walks up in there. And homeboy has, I don't know what the dog rat catcher's name is, but he has the queen, not Alicent. You know, used to be Regent Queen, Queen Mother, whatever you want to call her. He is the queen of the Seven Kingdoms in his, in his possession. Now, they could have easily found out which one was the real boy there. They already hinted at it. You know, there's some anatomy they could have looked at to find out which one was the boy, right? Why do you think? And so would there be a reason for her to like attempt to lie to them? Like, because the other guy was like, oh no, she's trying to trick us, and she wasn't. She actually did tell them. Why do you think she did that? Why do you think she didn't try to fight or say anything? Now, granted, it might end up with her killed, both of her children killed, and like nobody gets out of there alive, which could very well happen. But I'm curious why. I guess it's easier to say when you're not in that situation, but I'm curious if like there was just no resistance like at all. She didn't even come run out of there. She wasn't even running out of there screaming for help or anything. She just grabbed her kid and just did. And again, different people in different situations. Other people might try to fight there and then they get themselves killed and both their kids killed. So I guess it's like, if there's a chance that I can get out of here with my life and one of my kids, it was just wild to see that. Like, I mean, I guess the mother had to make a choice. Now I'm curious if those guys get out of there in time, but they were in there hacking away at that head. Whoa-wee. The sound effects on that were crazy. Yeah, House of the Dragons. Right back into it, but it was some great stuff. I really enjoyed it. So that's episode 1 down. I'm not sure the episode count this year. I don't even know how many we got last year. I don't know, or last season. I think what it was 2 years ago. But I'm here for it. Here for it. I think the only other, I guess, maybe major player we didn't see was whose boy is that? Oh, Vaemon, who got his head chopped off, saying that everybody was a whore and a bastard. Wasn't it hit? Was it? No, it's not. It's not his son, was it? Who's the other blonde? Who's the other gray dread-headed boy that rides the dragon that was fighting in the Stepstones with them? Who's he from? Because he's not Corlys and Rhaenys' son, and he's not anything from Daemon and their daughters. Where's he coming? Who's it? What? Who is he related to? Where does he come from? I mean, but again, as far as major player, I don't know his lineage. He's some kind of, Valyrian. Yeah, because he called him uncle. But he's not his son. Maybe he's just somebody else's son that we haven't seen or have seen, and it's not that important. But I would say he's a pretty important player because he's a dragon rider. He may not have a bunch of screen time or dialogue or anything, but he does ride a dragon. And if you ride a dragon in this time, you are a major player. So, and it's pretty wild how like the nuke that they keep waving around is Aemon and Vhagar. Like at any point he could just go out there and take it. Now I guess because you're so used to seeing like in Game of Thrones, like her Daenerys' dragons were taken down. Like, we did see dragons die, and Vhagar is pretty massive. It's just like, do we really, maybe in this time, I mean, I don't know, I just can't see it, and maybe I'm underestimating, but do we really think Vhagar could just ride from town to town, city to city, country to country, just nuking things? And succeed and win and conquer it all? I just think there's too many other dragons. I'm saying solo by himself. Like the way that they keep talking about, like I could go right out there and end this, I can just go burn this blockade and burn through the Riverlands and do this, do that. Do you think if they really loaded up, I'm talking Rhaenys, Rhaenyra, Daemon, or whichever one of the sons is still alive, the other girls, do you think if they rode out like 6, 7, 8, 9 dragon riders deep on top of like any maybe scorpions, now scorpions might not be very helpful when you're firing between 10 dragons, but I mean it's a pretty big target, so maybe, but I'm saying, do you really think that he could survive through like 10 dragons and scorpion fire and anything else? I don't see it personally, but I don't know if he'll ever go like 1v10. But they do like waving that nuke around, like, hey, if I wanted to, I could send my brother out there and end this. And he's like, I could go out there and end this. But it's like, could you? Would he fuck shit up? Absolutely. Especially by the time you get everybody else coordinated and ready to ride out. But I don't think he could solo just tear through all of it. I don't know. We'll leave it there and see. Appreciate it, everybody. Like, share, favorite, subscribe, and as always,